Welcome to Prophecy News Update. I'm Tom Gilbreath. We're calling this program Trace Act 6666. The name comes from a bill now going through Congress, the Trace Act. Testing, reaching, and contacting everyone. T-R-A-C-E. Trace. It's also known as the House Resolution 6666. When I first heard about it, I thought it had to be a hoax. Something that will trace Americans, and it happens to be H.R. 6666? You've got to be kidding. Nope, they're not kidding. According to the website GovTrack, this bill would provide $100 billion in grants to faith-based organizations. I think they meant organizations, clinics, medical centers, and other organizations, probably organizations again, which perform testing for COVID-19, tracing of exposure to COVID-19, or services for individuals who are isolating at home. No provision in this bill would make testing or quarantining mandatory. The bill includes privacy protections that would limit how grantee organizations could share information collected with the federal government. Then they add a large-scale disinformation campaign has made absurd claims about this bill. I don't want to be part of a disinformation campaign, so let's look at the bill itself. To authorize the Secretary of Health and Human Services to award grants to eligible entities to conduct diagnostic testing for COVID-19 and related activities, such as contact tracing through mobile health units and, as necessary, at individuals' residences and for other purposes. It seems obvious that this bill would give money to states and other entities to send people to your home and perform diagnostic tests on you for the purpose of isolating you if you test positive, or isolating one of your loved ones from you if they test positive. H.R. 6666 is one of many, many initiatives being put forward right now around the world to trace people who have tested positive for COVID-19. But it is not just tracing. The bill says conduct diagnostic testing at individuals' residences. The Director of Public Health in Ventura County, California, recently described that county's plan to find and isolate those who test positive if they live in a home with only one bathroom. He said the county plans to hire contact tracing investigators who will find people who have COVID-19 and immediately isolate them. At another point, he said, we will find everyone with COVID-19 and we will isolate every one of them, and we will make sure they stay quarantined. He called it a pilot program that will certainly grow into something larger and larger. The investigators will find people who have COVID-19 and immediately isolate them, find every one of their contacts, make sure they stay quarantined, and check in with them every day. When someone says that if you live in a home with only one bathroom and you have this disease, we're going to find you, immediately isolate you, and make sure you stay quarantined, that sounds kind of scary. That sounds like Ventura County intends to forcibly remove COVID sufferers who live in homes with only one bathroom. The next day, Ventura County's Director of Public Health walked this back, saying, I gave people the impression that if you were isolated, you would be taken out of your home and put into a hotel room or a motel room or sequestered in some other way. If I did that, I am sorry. That is an option. What? Yeah? That's what he said. That is an option. That is possible. If you become infected, you don't want to stay in your home. You're afraid that you'll expose other people. We'll work with you to find a place to stay. And it's likely to be a hotel or a motel. We will desire for you to have your own room in your place of residence and a bathroom that can be dedicated to just you. Now, not everyone is fortunate enough to have more than one bathroom, so we'll work with you. I think he meant that they will work with you by finding you a place of isolation if you want them to. But he didn't actually say that. His clarification was anything but clear. When he said removing you from your home is still an option, I think he meant it would be up to the individual or the family, but he didn't say that. He could have plainly said that if your 6-year-old child comes down with coronavirus, we will not forcibly take that child from you, but he was never that clear. States already have COVID detectives, but they almost all plan to hire more. California intends to hire 20,000 new COVID tracers. New York, 17,000. Texas, 2,800. New Jersey, 7,000. Massachusetts, 1,000. Kansas, 400. Nationally, former Senate Majority Leader Bill Frist is calling for $12 billion to hire 180,000 tracers. Here's the most obvious problem. It won't work. It can't. And not because it will violate privacy rights, which it will, or destroy medical confidentiality laws, though it will do that too. No, it won't work because there aren't enough people to watch everyone. 20,000 COVID detectives to find this virus among 40 million Californians and then trace their activities? It's not possible. For tracing to work, it must be automated. They will have to use smartphones and other devices in an artificial intelligence network. This is where the Apple-Google consortium could come in very handy. There just aren't enough people. To work, it will also have to be mandatory. It will take a large majority of the population in order to work, and most people will opt out, some because of privacy concerns, some because they will just never get around to opting in, or some out of sheer laziness. And finally, it must be global. Disease spreads, and if it is as contagious as COVID-19, it spreads everywhere. We live in a global business and tourism environment. If virus breaks out in one country, expect it to spread. To work, a tracking system would have to be global, mandatory, and automated. Does this remind you of anything? An article in the magazine authored by academics, The Conversation, said contact tracing using digital technology represents an opportunity to battle COVID-19 and reopen the economy, but its application will create unprecedented surveillance infrastructure beyond anything we have seen before. Note the key words, surveillance infrastructure. For years, the technology for a whole new level of totalitarianism, a level never seen before, has been under construction. You don't have to believe in a coming Antichrist to see that the world is in grave danger of a level of governmental control unprecedented in human history. Not just unprecedented, but not even possible before now. The technology for this new level of totalitarianism has been under construction for years, but the implementation of that technology required a trigger. COVID-19 might be that trigger. I'm not accusing anyone of willingly aiding the rise of Antichrist. Government officials of all parties in all countries are trying to find ways to cope. They are also trying to turn the situation to their own advantage, but hey, they're politicians. That's what they do. Make no mistake, though, most of them really are desperate to find ways to reopen the world's economy because they know we are on the precipice of a global economic disaster like nothing ever seen before. Every nation has been spending wildly while tax revenues have fallen to nothing. None of the nations were ready for this. My point is that this is an exact fit for what must happen to remake the world into the image of it portrayed in the Bible for the tribulation period. We're not there yet, but it sure looks like we're getting close. In other words, the Bible was right again. We live in a world that was unimaginable 200 years ago, or 50 years ago, or really even 5 months ago. And yet, words spoken and written almost 2 millennia ago describe this year in stunningly accurate detail. If the Bible is right about this, doesn't it make sense that you should investigate its other claims as well? I hope you will. If you're watching on YouTube, please consider subscribing to Prophecy News Update. God willing, I'll see you soon.